The suspects. Capone's shadow in the American Boys, Al Capone, the flamboyant kingpin, is the obvious suspect. His Chicago outfit had been at war with Moran's North Side gang for years, trading gunfire and bodies in a relentless struggle for dominance. Moran himself had narrowly escaped death, arriving late to the garage that morning, a twist of fate that saved his life. But Capone has an airtight alibi. He's in Florida, lounging in his Miami mansion, far from the Chicago bloodbath. Could he have pulled the strings from 200 miles away? Suspicion also falls on Capone's lieutenants. Jack Machine Gun McGurn, a notorious hitman, is a prime candidate, but his girlfriend, Louise Rolfe, swears they spent Valentine's Day holed up in a hotel room, and the charges against him fizzle out. Then there's Fred Killer Burke, a St. Louis gangster tied to Capone's crew. Months after the massacre, police raid Burke's Michigan hideout and find 2 Tommy guns linked to the crime through groundbreaking ballistic testing. Burke, already in prison for killing a cop, never faces charges for the massacre. Why? Some say the feds preferred to let Capone's name hang under the cloud of guilt. A bombshell emerges in 1935 when Byron Bolton, a bank robber and alleged lookout for the massacre, spills details to the FBI. He names Burke, Fred Gutz, Gus Winkler, Ray Nugent, and Bob Carey, part of a St. Louis crew dubbed the American Boys, as the triggerman. Bolton claims he bought the Cadillac used in the hit, funded by Capone's associate Louis Lipschultz. Most damningly, he points the finger at Capone as the mastermind, ordering the hit to eliminate Moran and seize his territory. But the killers didn't know Moran's face, so they slaughtered everyone in the garage to be sure. Curiously, J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI's director, buries the confession, insisting the massacre is a local matter. Was it a cover-up or just bureaucratic apathy? Want to dive deeper into the dark corners of history's greatest mysteries? Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel Behind Veiled Truths for more thrilling investigations into the secrets that shaped our world. The aftermath, Capone's rise and fall. The St. Valentine's Day massacre wasn't just a crime, it was a cultural earthquake. The sheer brutality, 7 men mowed down in broad daylight, shocked America, exposing the rot of Prohibition-era corruption. Newspapers sold millions, splashing headlines like "Gangland Slaughter" across front pages. President Herbert Hoover, newly elected, made Capone public enemy no. 1, vowing to dismantle his empire. The massacre's gruesome photos, captured by photographer Jun Fujita, became iconic, fueling public outrage and demands for reform. But the crime remained unsolved. No one was ever convicted, and Capone skated free, his Florida alibi unshakable. Yet the massacre marked a turning point. Federal agents, led by Elliot Ness and his untouchables, intensified their pursuit, not for murder, but for tax evasion. In 1931, Capone was convicted on 22 counts of income tax fraud, sentenced to 11 years in prison, and sent to Alcatraz. The massacre, while never pinned on him, had painted a target on his back. By 1939, released but broken by syphilis and mental decline, Capone was a shadow of his former self. He died in 1947, a faded legend at 48. Moran, meanwhile, faded into obscurity, dying in prison in 1957. The unsolved mystery, questions that linger, here's where the trail gets murky. Was Capone truly the mastermind, or was he a convenient scapegoat? Some historians, like William J. Helmer and Arthur J. Billick, argue the American Boys acted on their own, a botched hit driven by bad timing and poor intel. Others, like Jonathan Egg, suggest a lesser-known Chicago felon, driven by revenge, might have orchestrated the massacre, with Capone taking the blame. The role of the Purple Gang, Detroit's Jewish mob, adds another layer. Did they supply the hooch to lure Moran's men into a trap? And why did Hoover ignore Bolton's confession? Was Chicago's police force, riddled with corruption, complicit in letting the case go cold? The brick wall from the garage, pockmarked with bullet holes, now stands in the Mob Museum in Las Vegas, a haunting relic of that bloody day. Each dent tells a story, but the full truth remains elusive. The Tommy guns, found in Burke's possession, are preserved in Berrien County, Michigan, silent witnesses to a crime that still fascinates nearly a century later. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, Al Capone's Bloody Valentine, Chicago, February 14, 1929. The air is crisp, the streets dusted with snow, and love is in the air, except in a grimy garage at 2122 North Clark Street. Here, love is replaced by betrayal, and the only roses are the crimson stains pooling on the cold concrete. 7 men, lined up against a brick wall, face a firing squad disguised as police officers. The rat-a-tat-tat of Thompson's submachine guns echoes through the Lincoln Park neighborhood, a brutal symphony that would become the infamous Valentine's Day Massacre. Who orchestrated this cold-blooded execution? The shadow of Al Scarface Capone looms large, but the truth is a labyrinth of secrets, alibis, and unanswered questions. Was this the work of a criminal mastermind or a chaotic misstep in Chicago's gangland wars? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the mystery that shocked a nation and cemented Capone's legend as America's most notorious gangster. The stage is set, Chicago's gangland inferno. In the Roaring '20s, Chicago was a city under siege, not by foreign invaders, but by its own underworld. Prohibition, ushered in by the 18th Amendment in 1920, turned the city into a battleground for control of the illegal liquor trade. Speakeasies thrived, bootleggers grew rich, and gangsters like Al Capone ruled with an iron fist. Capone, a Brooklyn-born tough who rose through the ranks of the Chicago outfit, was no ordinary criminal. By 1925, after his mentor Johnny Torrio retired following a near-fatal assassination attempt, Capone took the throne of a sprawling empire built on bootlegging, gambling, and prostitution. His income, a staggering $60 million a year, equivalent to nearly $1 billion today. But power breeds enemies, and Capone's fiercest rival was George "Bugs" Moran, leader of the North Side Gang. The two gangs were locked in a bloody turf war, each vying for control of Chicago's lucrative black market. Moran, an Irish-American firebrand, mocked Capone as the Beast. Capone, in turn, saw Moran as a thorn in his side, a rival who needed to be crushed. The stage was set for a showdown, and on Valentine's Day 1929, the city would witness a massacre that would change the course of organized crime forever. The massacre, a scene of carnage. Picture this. It's 10:30 a.m. on a chilly February morning. Inside the SMC Cartage Company garage, a front for Moran's bootlegging operations, 7 men are gathered, awaiting a shipment of high-grade hooch. Among them are Peter Gusenberg, Moran's enforcer, his brother Frank, Albert Kachalek, Moran's right-hand man, and Adam Heyer, the gang's bookkeeper. The others include Albert Weinshank, a money launderer, Reinhard Schwimmer, a hanger-on with mob dreams, and John May, a mechanic caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Suddenly, a black Cadillac, eerily similar to a police cruiser, pulls up outside. 4 men, maybe 5, step out. 2 are dressed in police uniforms, complete with badges and swagger. They storm the garage, barking orders like seasoned cops. The 7 men inside, caught off guard, comply, lining up against the brick wall, hands raised. They think it's a raid. They're wrong. In a flash, the officers and their accomplices unleash a hail of bullets. Over 70 rounds from Thompson submachine guns, known as Chicago typewriters, and a single shotgun blast for good measure. The victims crumple, their bodies riddled with lead, blood seeping into the garage floor. When real police arrive, they find a scene of unimaginable horror. 6 men are dead. Frank Gusenberg, miraculously clinging to life despite 14 bullet wounds, crawls 20 feet before collapsing. "Who shot you?" a sergeant asks. "No one," Gusenberg gasps, loyal to the code of silence even in his final moments. He dies hours later at Alexian Brothers Hospital, taking any secrets with him. The nation is stunned, newspapers splash gruesome photos across front pages, and the public demands answers. Who could orchestrate such a brazen, brutal hit? All eyes turn to Al Capone. The final shot, a legacy of blood and intrigue. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre wasn't just a gangland hit. It was the climax of Chicago's Prohibition-era chaos, a moment that exposed the raw violence of the underworld and sparked a national reckoning. Al Capone, whether guilty or not, became its enduring symbol, a larger-than-life villain whose shadow still looms over history. But the questions linger like gunpowder in the air. Who pulled the trigger? Who gave the order? And why does this unsolved mystery still grip us? Don't let the trail go cold. Subscribe to Behind Veiled Truths on YouTube for more gripping dives into history's darkest corners. From mob wars to unsolved conspiracies, we're peeling back the veil on the stories that shaped our world. Click that subscribe button and join us for the next chapter. Tips. /www.youtube.com Behind Veiled Truths.